This is Market Day Report. Here we are at midday. And how about a quick look at the equity markets? We'll start with the Dow. We're in the red for sure. Down 861 points on the future side. And we look at the NASDAQ, down over 372. And then the S&P trading 67 lower. So pretty much lower across the board on the equity side. Dollar index, though, continues to move higher. We're near the top of the session at 101.30, and we'll hit one more before we roll into our row crops. It's 10-year yields moving higher right now. Now to the corn market, and corn has been under pressure. A little bit of a move backwards after that rally last week that started last week. December 473.5, it's down 7. New crop November beans, that's again November, 11.92 1/4, down 27 3/4. We're basically at the bottom of the session. Wheat market, this is Chicago. Front month up 1.25 663 3/4. Front month for hard red or Kansas City, 729 3/4. That's 3.5 higher. And then we finish it off with the cotton market. And at last check, the cotton market was trading in the red, down 112 points, 79.41. So is it weather or war related? Ryan Kelbrants is with CHS Hedging. I guess pick your W there, but have you been watching what's happening on the war side?
Yeah, Iran launched an attack on some U.S. forces in the Middle East overnight, and President Trump stated that the U.S. is going to respond with military action. So energy prices are sharply higher, but the corn and the bean markets aren't reacting to it. I think there's more in terms of what we're seeing with these upcoming potential showers in some of the major growing areas that I think that's weighing on some things as well. I believe we're seeing, I think we're seeing a little bit of fund liquidation after the recent spike in prices. You got Novi beans below $12. There could be some technical factors involved as well. Ahead of the Fed decision, equity markets you mentioned are lower. There's a high percentage, more of a percentage that they're going to leave them unchanged rather than raise them. So that's scheduled to come out later this afternoon towards the close. We did have the EIA at 9:30 come out with their weekly ethanol production. That actually increased 39,000 barrels a day to a little over 1.1 million barrels a day. So they were expecting production to be down slightly to up slightly. So ethanol stocks rose 245,000 barrels to 24.7 million barrels. They were looking for a little bit of a decrease, but more on the build side there. And then we did see a little bit of a jump in U.S. gasoline demand, up 94,000 barrels a day to a little over 9 million. So that's above the 4-week average. On the docket coming up here, obviously, we're going to keep an eye on weather, but export sales tomorrow, and we'll see the latest drought monitor. And then market participants are going to continue to monitor weather developments very closely, the energy markets and geopolitical risks. Wheat markets are seeing a little bit of a bump here because Ukraine struck some energy targets last night, and there's some additional Russian attacks that ongoing conflict and just heightened tensions in the region has traders monitoring supply and export risks as well.
Good points there. Hey, I hope I'm not throwing you a curveball, but speaking of ethanol and E15, one area we've really had a challenge, or the industry has had a challenge, is pushing it into California. Has that been anything that's been on your radar at all? Have you seen anything on that as of late?
I haven't seen any headlines or any solid news on that recently.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. Again, if you are able to open up that market in California, does that make an additional dent in demand, or at least give you a little more demand as we move forward? Ryan, always great to see you. Thanks for coming by. Ryan Kelbrants is with CHS Hedging. All right, we'll take a break. We're back in a moment talking proteins next. This is Market Day Report.